Chapter 1. No always comes before yes. For many people, saying no is one of the toughest things to do. It's often uncomfortable, scary, and might be dangerous for your relationships with others. But at the same time, it is vital for your well-being. When you say no to others, you say yes to yourself, your interests, values, and needs. And that is why saying no is one of the essential skills to obtain to live happily and remain successful. For a long time, William Ury considered our collective inability to reach a yes as the main reason behind the damaging conflicts that keep shaking up our lives. However, he has realized that agreements are often temporary and lead to even more disputes. Many underlying issues and problems remain unresolved when two sides say yes to each other. Remember, an insincere yes is much more damaging than any no. William Ury is now confident that there must be a basic no before there can be any room for a yes. To stand up for what matters and tend to your needs, or those of others, you must first say no to a request or demand that may be unwelcome, abusive, or inappropriate. Saying no, though, isn't as straightforward as we'd like it to be. It is one of the most powerful words in any language, and we must use it effectively and gracefully. Think of it as your +4 Uno card. It can save you when you are in a tough predicament, but overuse it and no one will want to play with you anymore. The tricky thing with saying no is that you must keep a certain balance between exercising your will and power and tending to your relationship. In the following chapters, you will learn step by step how to deliver the perfect positive no that will help you protect your interests and strengthen your relationships. There are two main stages for this: preparation and delivery. And when combined, they fall into place like puzzles of one firm no. Chapter 2. A good no starts and ends with a yes. If your boss asks you to take on extra work, or your kid is begging you for a new toy, and you know in your heart that the only correct answer is no, but you just can't bring yourself to say it, there are three typical responses in situations like these, the so-called 3A trap: accommodating, attacking, and avoiding. When we accommodate, we put the interests of another before our own and say yes when we really mean no. This solution is temporary because while it does achieve the goal of preserving your relationship, it can hurt it in the long run. Many of our problems come from saying yes when we really should be saying no. Attack is the opposite of accommodation. Using your no without any concern for how it might influence those around you is rarely effective because it comes from irritation and aggression. Lashing out and using your no to hurt another is the least productive way to resolve a conflict. The third way of reacting is avoidance, neither yes nor no. It's a prevalent strategy nowadays. We avoid refusing or agreeing because we are fundamentally afraid of losing relationships, career opportunities, and other benefits. But sadly, waiting till the problem disappears isn't effective at all, and problems and conflicts will continue to pile up until we either accommodate or attack. So what else can you do if saying yes can hurt your interests? Saying no will affect the interests of others, and saying nothing at all worsens the conflict. Luckily, there's a way out: a positive no. Positive no calls on you to exercise your power and tend to your relationship simultaneously. While a regular no begins with no and ends with no, a positive no is a combination of yes, no, yes. Seem confusing? Let's break it down. Your positive no begins with a yes that you are saying to yourself and what is important to you. It continues with a no that sets clear boundaries, then ends with another yes, an offer that considers your partner's interests and tends to your relationship. The yes, no, yes structure is perfectly balanced and contains everything you need to deliver a successful no. Chapter 3. Positive no requires thorough preparation. The first stage in delivering a positive no is preparation. It includes uncovering your initial yes, empowering your no, and finding your way to another respectful yes to form a yes, no, yes structure. The extensive history of arguments, conflicts, and wars demonstrates an interesting pattern. Every no derived from something that one is against is weak and damaging. A positive no starts with a yes for a reason. It shows that you are basing your no on what you are for, not against. This slight shift in attitude can impact the outcome immensely. Here lies the secret of the people who have overcome their addictions. They were able to say no to their damaging behavior because they uncovered a more profound yes. Yes to their health or the well-being of their loved ones. The power of your no comes directly from the power of your yes. In other words, the first yes of a positive no is the purpose for you saying no in the first place. Therefore, to make your no powerful, You must look as deep as possible to uncover your core motivation. Uncovering your initial yes can take time, so it is important never to jump straight to yes or no, no matter the situation. Give yourself time to stop, relax, and think. By taking a time out, you allow yourself to separate your actual thoughts from any negative emotions that might cloud them. Some useful phrases for this are, "Sorry, but this is not the best time to discuss it. Let's talk about it in an hour. Give me some time to think about it. I need to consult my family before I can make this decision." To prepare for your first yes of the positive no, you must take time to quiet your emotions, uncover your underlying interests, needs, and values, and then crystallize your yes so it is clear and precise. This initial yes grounds your overall no in something positive and gives you the necessary energy to proceed with the no. The next step is empowering your no. Its primary purpose is to help you set clear limitations and show your inner power, which can be difficult if you are entirely dependent on others and need them to react positively. For this reason, it is vital to prepare your plan B. In this case, there is an adverse reaction to your no. Look for ways to separate yourself from the tough situation you might be in. For example, if you're saying no to unreasonable requests from your boss, your plan B might be to contact human resources or transfer to another department. When you have your plan B, you are independent of others' responses to your no. But remember that your plan B is simply a backup that can help you meet your core interests, not a way to manipulate or threaten. Chapter 4. Strengthen your no with respect. When you've prepared your initial yes and leading no, it is time to think about the third element of the yes, no, yes. The second yes here is the one that someone can say to your no while taking into account their needs. Quite often, others will perceive our no's as total rejections and ways of saying, "My interests are important and yours don't count at all." While this is unintentional in most cases, it is important to do everything you can to make your no seem respectful and positive. How can you prepare your yes? First things first, it helps to adopt a positive attitude of respect, giving necessary attention to others, listening to them, and acknowledging their needs. Here, the task is to show that your no isn't a personal rejection, but rather a yes to what matters to you. In other words, a good no is about you and not about them. Simple gestures of respect in communication, like active listening, recognition, and acknowledgement, can significantly reduce the negative backlash of your no. Respect is something that every person deserves. Still, it doesn't come easy, and only confident and strong-willed people are capable of true respect, especially concerning their opponents. Keep in mind, before we can respect someone else, we need to respect ourselves. To further develop your final yes, make sure to infuse it with positive undertones. It helps show that you understand and acknowledge the opposing point of view or the importance of their request. After declining or disagreeing, always invite them to a constructive discussion and let them know that there are ways to solve the issue that will benefit you both. Spelling out the future in such a manner will help you end your no on a positive note. At this stage, you are aware of the preparation process. You've learned how to uncover your interests, yes, solidify your refusal, no, and address the needs of the other, yes. This process requires a lot of thought and practice. If you feel like you understand the details of your future no, it is time to move on to the actual delivery of the positive no. Chapter 5. Making your no factual and neutral. The pinnacle of the process is delivering your no, and this stage requires lots of skill and tact. As you already know, you say yes first to set up your no for success. It strengthens your intention and explains the reasons for saying no. Your initial yes helps eliminate the fear and guilt that often accompany no's. This stage is the essence of a positive no, enabling you to assert without outright rejection. So how can you deliver the first yes? To do it successfully, remember a few tips. Use the statements. Stick to the facts. Avoid judgmental language or categorical statements. Stick to the I and we statements. The statements can make your language more neutral and clear out any negative emotions. For example, compare these two sentences. The product was delayed because you took too long to finalize it. The product was delayed as a result of the lengthy process of finalizing. Though they convey the same message, the first is more likely to strain your relationship. The statements make your language a matter of fact and help you stick to the neutral truth. Being objective and factual is key to solidifying your no. If you refer to facts while explaining your reasons for saying no, others are more likely to accept and acknowledge your point of view. When explaining your no, be hard on the problem, not the person. Judgmental language and categorical statements can trigger negative reactions. Therefore, no matter how satisfying it might feel to reprimand or judge others, avoid it at all costs. It is much more effective to let them draw conclusions from the facts you have presented to ensure that both sides retain their dignity. When delivering your yes, remember that this is a value statement. It helps you assert your worth, and it is you saying yes to what matters while remaining respectful and polite. After you've delivered it, it is time for the hardest part, your no. Chapter 6. No is a different way of saying yes. Your actual no is the heart of the positive no process and the key word that can be the difference between life and death. It defines you and gives you individuality. For this reason, learning how to say no is essential to your development as a human being. The first thing to keep in mind is the importance of being concise and clear. The simpler you phrase your no, the more powerful it will be. The so-called natural no effortlessly flows from your initial yes. It isn't a rigidly fixed statement. On the contrary, it is flexible, and you can mold it to fit your needs. It's easy to say no when a deeper yes is burning inside. Stephen R. Covey. Apart from being clear and simple, your no must be powerful. When you refuse to accept an offer at work or disagree with your colleague, you commit to a specific course of action. Backtracking and doubts will waver your stance and obscure the message of your no. It is also important to remember that you are not responsible for anybody else's feelings. Your task is not to deliver no in a way that won't upset the other, but to deliver it with as much clarity, respect, and honesty as you can, and then let others react the way they want to. Always say your no with the same sincerity and confidence as your yes. A few extra tips for delivering the no part of your positive no are: try to use polite language. Frame your boundaries by using phrases like, I have a policy, I don't feel comfortable doing this, or I have other commitments. Acknowledge the limits of your possibilities. Such a simple thing as adding thanks to your no can go a long way by helping you keep your no direct, while adding an extra layer of politeness and respect. But if the situation requires further explanation of your no, you can establish your limits by using a few helpful phrases. For example, when you say that you have a policy that stops you from saying yes, you demonstrate that this no is not a one-time thing, is not personal, and is more you saying yes to your values rather than no to the other person. Such easy depersonalization can take the strain off your relationship. The same goes for phrases like, I am not comfortable with this, or I have other commitments. When you decide on the best way to deliver your no, keep in mind that sometimes a blunt and direct no may be a trigger for feelings of shame and rejection. It is a powerful word, and therefore you must wield it carefully. Always analyze the situation first. Usually there are other ways to communicate the same message. If your intention is powerful, you can deliver your final no without ever using the word itself. Of course, there will always be situations where there is no place for tiptoeing around, looking for explanations or polite words. In these cases, empower your bare no with everything you've got and stick to it, defending yourself and your basic interests. Saying the word no helps you gather your energy and boosts your confidence. Did you know there are cultures, primarily in East Asia, where saying no is just not done? They endeavor to express their no without uttering the word itself. Chapter 7. Always follow your no through. After you've delivered your no, you can almost let out a breath of relief. There is one more step in the delivery process, the concluding yes, your chance to acknowledge the interests of the other. Saying no and just stopping there is the most common mistake people make. By doing so, they overlook an amazing opportunity to seek a positive outcome for both sides. Remember always to leave the metaphorical door open. When your no shuts it closed, make an offer or suggestion that will help open it up again. When you follow up your no with a positive suggestion, you show respect. And because you've cared enough to address someone else's interests, they are more likely to accept your no without any negative responses. Another surprising benefit of following your no with a suggestion is that it allows others to say no to you. It may seem weird, but this is very helpful as it will even out the playing field. Others will have the chance to decide, and you won't be the one rejecting them. It's a great way to restore a balance and healthy relationship. But what can qualify as a good follow-up proposal? First of all, this must be a practical, constructive, specific, and realistic solution to a problem. You can present it as a third option when you deny a particular request. It can also be a polite call for change in behavior, or even something as simple as asking for an agreement to your no. Your proposal needs to be rooted in your initial yes and be consistent with your no. Now that you've learned the intricacies of each step in the yes, no, yes process, it is important to add that the three elements won't always come in this exact order. It depends on the situation. But don't worry about the details. If you have thought them through and keep them firmly in the back of your mind, you will be able to deliver a perfect positive no. Conclusion. It is easy to think of no as negative and unpleasant. Avoid it at all costs and be afraid of it. But the power of no is an underappreciated gift. It can empower you, help you prioritize your interests, and make meaningful connections with others. A strong-willed no can be as valuable as any yes, and sometimes even more so. Why? Because a good no is always honest and genuine. It bears no regrets or falsities. It can fill you with unique sincerity and strength to pursue what matters. As a society, we must break out of the 3A trap that constantly stops us from defending our interests and forces us to say yes when everything inside us screams no. For some reason, we have separated our yeses and our nos, when in reality, they aren't mutually exclusive. Every good yes accompanies an underlying no, and every good no escorts an underlying yes. We need to learn how to combine these two opposites to sustain healthy relationships and care for ourselves. The positive no is a practical strategy that will help you master the art of combining yes and no and using them to your advantage. Changing old patterns takes lots of practice, but every day we are offered many opportunities to practice saying no. And with practice and reflection, all of us can improve significantly at the art of saying no. By rehabilitating no and marrying it with yes, we can make a better life for ourselves and for those around us. In the process, we can build a better world for our children and grandchildren based on integrity, dignity, and mutual respect. William Ury. Try this. Think of a situation when you struggled to say no or declined an offer. Analyze it and try to build your positive no step by step. What would be your initial yes, your no, and your final yes in that situation? This is an excellent way to practice delivering a positive no.